Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. As always, my name is Josh Lilquist, and we are having a ball here talking about the financial markets, how they work, the do's and the don'ts, and how to make smart investing decisions. And if you miss seats for the investing class that we do here locally, we have investing classes at our local academies here. We do these all across the country, but local here as well. And we have a state-of-the-art facility, a few different classrooms. In these classes, we talk about some of the strategies we talk about on the show here today. Income strategies, wealth strategies. But if you did miss those, you can just text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's text investing to the number 210-210. When you do that, you'll get a text back, and it'll say, welcome to Investing and Trading Live, with a link to our landing page so you can pick your own date for the investing class. We do these during the week. We also have these on the weekends. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. You can just text in, or type in, I should say, Investing and Trading Live. It'll pop right up for the podcast. But also check out the YouTube. We do this live every single week. We do several sessions per week as well on the podcast. So if you do miss part of the show, you can listen to the podcast or the YouTube Investing and Trading Live. So, Al, in that last segment, we talked about how to track the institutions, which is on a price chart. That's where you get your data, because that's telling you exactly what's happening, and that can't lie. That's valid data on a price chart. Now, being able to identify supply and demand brings your consistency and confidence into the markets. But also, what it does is it gives you odds and probabilities when you place risk management parameters around that, so you're protected on both ends. And in this segment here, I want to talk a little bit about income strategies using that supply and demand method. It can't be. It's the law of supply and demand. Now, if you think about it, I was kind of thinking about how we're raised and how we grow up to go to school, get a good job, get a 401k, and we're supposed to retire with billions of dollars. And in school, they don't really teach you how to have an entrepreneur mind even. It's memorization, and nothing against school or anything, but this is kind of how it is. It's memorization, and it teaches you to listen to your teachers and follow directions and do it by yourself, right? Test by yourself. Don't do it as a team. You don't get help from your neighbor. And one of the things in life is we do everything as a team. If you have a job, most people have a team that they work with to complete certain tasks and get different jobs done. Say construction company, they do things as a team. You have carpenters, and you have heavy equipment operators, and you have concrete guys, and they're all really collectively working together as a team in building a building. There's many phases to that. Say in the financial markets, it's kind of the same type of concept. Is rather than just doing it yourself, being able to be assisted and being helped by a team to make smart trading and investing decisions. And they don't teach you how to do this in school. They just teach you how to go get a job. Well, we're seeing a lot of people come to the Academy, Al, that want to be able to have an income strategy that's a little bit differently than getting a second job or a third job or a fourth job. They want to be able to do that on their own time from home, but it does take a little bit of capital. And we have a lot of people that people are saving money a little bit these days. They have capital sitting aside, and it's just idle in the markets. And they want to put that in the market, but a little bit at a time. Now, there's income strategies to use the market to do that. You have futures and you have forex. And I want you to talk a little bit about why it's so important to learn these income strategies now, because they don't teach you in school, but it's never too late to do that. So why is it so important to learn these now? And what are you seeing most people want to have the ability to use that second income strategy for?
Well, by the way, you're right about schools. This kind of education is just not taught in schools, which is really ironic, because one of the most important things in your life as you go forward out of school is your financial life. How do you get the best the best financial life for you, the best lifestyle for you? Mm-hmm. And In China, from what I understand, they actually start teaching financial education in preschool.
China.
Yeah, in China. So why is it so important to understand or to learn the income strategies, especially now? Look at the impact that inflation has had on the dollar. Over the last 100 years, the buying power of the dollar has gone down by 96%. Inflation just over the last couple of years has cut 20% off of the buying power of your dollars. So it has become very hard for people to pay their bills, to cover what is the cost of living, the cost of staying alive, and then have money left over to put aside for the future, or just to go out and have some fun, enjoy yourself, or maybe just cover emergencies. A lot of the advisors out there will tell you should have maybe 3 months to 6 months to a year's emergency fund set aside. Well, how can you do that if you're living paycheck to paycheck, or if there's just a few dollars left after all the bills are paid?
And people are making good money these days. You see a lot of people making 150,000 per year, 200,000, and they still have a hard time saving.
Well, and one of the reasons is because inflation, the rate of inflation has outpaced the growth in income. Mm-hmm. But inflation has hit every part of our life, and the rate of growth may be coming down in inflation, but it's still very high. So why is income so important? Well, income is probably the most important component of your financial life, because if you're still working, if you're kind of in that accumulation phase, you need additional income. When we look at 68% of the people in this country living paycheck to paycheck, including people that are in the six-figure income, what does that tell you? It tells you that they could use some additional income.
I want to stop you for this second, though, because a lot of people think that number that a lot of people think is good is six-figure income.
Sure.
That's really not that good anymore. So people, I think, conditionally think they're okay. They say, I make $100,000 a year, but that's like the old 40, 50K a year.
Right. Now, if you're in the six-figure income, if you're in the 100,000 to maybe 150,000, that's kind of middle income now. And that used to be a very attractive income a number of years ago. But things change. That's the way the world works. There's always change. And the people that do well are the people that can adapt to the change.
Yeah, another example of that is being over the hill used to be 40 years old. Now, 40 years old, you're still a young whippersnapper. You know what I'm saying?
I would say people that are in their 70s, that's probably, like being in your 50s a number of years ago.
Oh, I think I know where you're going with that.
I could tell by the look on your face you knew where I was going there.
I'll keep it there. I'll keep it there. We'll leave this topic.
Well, when we have students coming in here that are just starting, have never traded before, that are in their 80s, what does that tell you? They're expecting to hang on for a while longer,
exactly,
and to be able to do it in a way that it doesn't create additional stress.
So it's the same thing. If you're in your 70s now, that's not old anymore. You're still young, and you got years to go. The same thing in the financial markets. $100,000 doesn't go that far anymore.
Well, and the good news, Josh, is that it doesn't make any difference how old you are. If you learn the income strategies, you can kind of look at the market like a huge ATM machine with trillions of dollars in it that you can draw from. But you have to know what those strategies are. Wall Street basically encourages you to be an average investor, to get average returns, but that's not what they're doing. They tell you to look at something that's long-term, hold on to it for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. If you're in your 20s and you're starting, they're going to tell you, you got 40 or 50 years before you have to worry about what's in this portfolio. Well, you should start worrying about what's in your portfolio every day. Start not worrying about it, but doing something about it. Learn how to manage it. So when you decide to retire and you choose that time, you have enough put aside so you can live the lifestyle that you want.
So sorry to interrupt you there, but a lot of people are looking at those markets like futures and forex. Now, what might that be an opportunity for people?
Well, if you're going to invest for short-term income, and then if you're investing for income, it has to be short-term. You can't look at putting something aside for 20 years that you need to have enough money to pay for now. I mean, if your furnace goes out, you can't get it fixed and then pay for it in 20 years. If your car breaks down, you can't get it fixed and pay for it in 20 years. So the income needs to be short-term. Options, futures, forex, those are assets that can be used in short-term trading, And also, they have leverage. So people that are just starting out, maybe you're struggling a little bit. There's not a lot left over after you pay your bills. You can use a small amount of money in those leveraged assets and control something much larger. And who does that? It's not just people that are starting out that don't have a lot of money. All of the Wall Street pros do that. The big traders do that. Warren Buffett uses options. He makes about $8 billion a year trading options. But you're put into something that's long-term. You're put into a stock or a mutual fund, something that gives you maybe average returns over time. But the big players, the Wall Street firms, they're using options. They're using the futures market. They're using the foreign exchange market. They are benefiting not just when the market goes up, which is what basically they're having you do. You're only going to benefit if it goes up. They're benefiting if it goes up, if it goes down, or if it goes sideways. And those short-term strategies can be used for that. It's much harder. It's almost impossible to predict what the market is going to do in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, but your probability of being able to determine with a high degree of accuracy what's going to happen to price short term is much greater. That's why it's so important to learn these assets.
Yeah, and we teach these assets, these futures, forex markets, options market, and investing classes. Just text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for a class to learn about the futures market, those other markets that are out there. So just kind of talking a little bit about that leverage, you were talking about using a much smaller account size. So I want to make sure that our listeners think about this and understand that even if you don't have a lot, you can get into these markets.
Right.
But let's just say you have plenty of capital. We see a lot of people that are coming to the academy, to these classes, that, are doing very well financially. But here's the thing, is they think a little bit differently. They're like, okay, let's just say an investor has, I don't know, $300,000, just as an example. They say, okay, if I have $300,000 and I can use maybe 10,000 of that and trade the forex market, which has 50 to 1 leverage, that $10,000 will act like $500,000 in the market. So now they're being much more efficient with their capital. So now that capital that they have set aside, that 300 grand, now they can use it elsewhere. So they're thinking more like a business would, how to be more efficient with your capital, using less of it, kind of having a superpower with that capital because it has the leverage, and then doing more with the rest of it. Maybe investing it somewhere else, maybe in the options market or the futures market, or maybe in some more stocks or real estate.
And for some people, maybe they just feel comfortable having their money in a money market or a CD or something like that. You can do that, but you take a small amount of money and use these leveraged assets so you have the potential for some very attractive returns.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, is having a better rate of return, and that's based off of your capital. We kind of explain that. We give you examples of that in these investing classes. We have these investing classes at our local academies. We have them all across the country, actually other countries as well, but local here near you in the metro area. So if you want to see how this leverage actually works, it's a physical class. What's pretty cool is there's so many fly-by-night YouTube gurus out there that are saying, oh, you're going to make $1 billion tomorrow if you follow my strategy. Well, the majority of those, I've looked into some of this, what they're doing is trying to get viewership, which they get paid by YouTube. So do they even have a strategy? Who even really knows? That's why we have a physical place to go. And that's the comment I've been hearing, Al, a lot here at the Academy, is they're like, wow, I'm so happy I have somewhere I can go to learn how the financial markets work, to how to make smart investing decisions, to do it as a community, as a group, kind of like we talked about in the beginning of this segment, having a community help you and someone assist you, a team to help you, so you're making smart investing decisions. That's a big comments I've been hearing lately. So to come to one of these classes, we do these locally during the weekend and the weekend. Just text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this class. When you text in right now, you're going to receive 2 seats plus a insider's kit that will actually help you get started right away. Text the word investing to the number 210. So when you get that text back, there'll be a link for our landing page so you can pick your own date and time. So make sure to check out the podcast if you did miss part of this segment on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. So coming up next, let's get into some more wealth strategies, Al, but also using that leverage, that same example, being more efficient with your capital. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We will be right back.